defeated Catholic Memorial, and then they also beat Catholic Memorial, who was an arch rival, in the all-state meet as well. And I think we're going to have the whole team come up, and then Jim McGillivray is going to say a few words. So come on up, please.
Thanks, Bernie. Is she bossing us around? Well, here we are, boys, 50 years after the fact, almost. 50 years. In my case, 50 pounds. Well, some of us are more than 50, some are less. It's not like we're 50 pounds overweight. Back when we were running, we were 25 pounds underweight. A strapping 145, 6 feet. Now back in '73, we entered into the Northeastern Conference for the first time, so we really didn't know what to expect. On paper, the opposition didn't look that strong, but when we got to run against them, they weren't that strong there either. Now, only 4 runners from other schools broke our top 5. We had 9 meets, and we pitched shutouts in 6 out of 9. A shutout in cross country is when your first 5 guys beat their first guy. So that happened 6 out of 9 times. Swampscott had 2 guys break into our top 5, but we had a few guys resting that day. So we let them have those. But as good as that was, it was nothing different than what the team before us did. We were undefeated, won the Northern Area meet. That's what, when we were sophomores, that's what the seniors did. Undefeated in Essex County, they won the Northern Area meet. And they were led by role models like Brian Reinhold and Mike Woods, who's here tonight. As juniors, the seniors in that group, they also were undefeated, won the Northern Area meet. And they were led by Paul Smith, who's just inaugurated tonight, as well as that Keith Barsanti. And I have to laugh, if Keith was here today, using the words Keith Barsanti and role model in the same sentence has probably never been uttered, safe to say. So, not only did we go undefeated and win the Northern Area meet, even the team after us in '74 did the same thing. 4 years in a row, undefeated Northern Area meet. Well, what did all 4 of those teams have in common? Coach Fred Hammond. Boy, he would have loved tonight. He would have loved it. He's got a team up here, Paul Smith, and so many of you, whether you're football or soccer, you had a track element as well. So he just would have been out of this world, and we miss him. Now, Fred I never heard him yell at anybody. I don't know about you guys. But he would get the word across of what he expected of you. And his expectations were probably above your own. And he made us work for it. How many of us remember getting up at meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning at Wenham Country Club? And the sun's not even out yet. And we're running those hills up at the Wenham Golf Course. Halfway through our workout, the sun would come out. Then we'd go back, home, shower, eat breakfast, go to school, and then in the afternoon, run our workout. You know, these days, that's borderline child abuse. But back then, it was what you had to do to be the best. Another great idea Coach had was Lynch Park. How about some fun in the sun at Lynch Park? He'd say, guys, go over, jog over, I'll meet you there. Well, what's between the parking lot and the road at Lynch Park? That big hill. Guys, sprint up it, come down, and do it again. And what always bothered me was he'd never tell us how many we had to do. Just do another one, and another one, and another one. Psychologically, I needed to know, you know, are we halfway through? Or do we have one, two more? You always have more than what you hoped. But as a result, when we got to the starting line, we were ready. I know in my own mind, I'm thinking, well, no one worked harder to prepare for this meet than we did. A few of them may have worked as hard, but none worked harder. And that got us to the starting line at Franklin Park, where we were able to put it all together finally and win the Division I state tournament, where Cliff Staples was fourth. Chris Bucknam, who's getting a lot of exposure tonight, he's going to get some more too, was seventh. John Thomason was 15th. I was 20th, and Jim Accomando was 28th. More importantly, it was 40 seconds between the first and the fifth guy. That's a pretty tight group. And that's what you need to win these state tournaments. And the bad news is, from what I've been told, we haven't won one since. We got to work on that. Now, let's meet the boys in band. Oh, you do get drafted here. Co-captain Rick Purdy. Rick has one of the top fastest times on our home course at Coney Field, and he did it as a junior. He was, when healthy, he was probably our best runner, strongest runner. And fun fact, him and I decided to run 23 miles one afternoon when Coach said to go out and do some distance. We just kept on running. And he went out and drove it that night just to see how long it was, 23 miles. We couldn't do that today because we couldn't afford the gas. The other co-captain, Chris Bucknam, who also had a top 4 time in the home course at Cooney Field. Chris was one of the best competitors I've ever seen. Great leader, and he won the NEC conference meet individuals. And as we were told earlier, Chris is currently the head coach at University of Arkansas, which just 2 weeks ago, by the way, won the NCAA Indoor Track Championships. His athletes placed in 9 out of 16 events. He's the Nick Saban of college track and field. Nick Saban, that's what it said. And I talked to him last night, and he was really bummed that he couldn't make it. Gave me a message to say that he loved you all, and that we were freaking awesome. He did say that this summer he's going to have a steak and whiskey barbecue. We're all invited. They'll love that. Haven't had set a date yet. Let's see, next is Cliff Staples, who also had a top 4 time in the home course. Cliff's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. We run forever, never complained, got better and better. He was our first finisher at the state meet. Great career in Beverly and a great career at UMass Amherst, which was a powerhouse. Next is John Tonneson, which I hate to say we lost to cancer last summer, just a few weeks after losing Coach Hammond. It was a lousy summer. We wouldn't be here without John. He always finished in the top 5. He was a junior. But without him, we don't win the stakes. Jim Accomando. Yet another Centerville guy. Trivia question. 3 of our top 5 finishes in the state meet were from Centerville. God's country. You can go back and forth. This was Jim's first year as cross-country runner. He came on, really came on in the second half of the year and sealed the deal in the state meet, but with finishing 28th. Again, having a 40-second spread between first and fifth, that's tough to beat. We also running for us as underclassmen was Scott Green, Dan Richard. These guys led the cross-country team the following year to undefeated seasons and winning the Northern Area meet. I always said that you could have taken our first 5 guys in '73, put them in your pocket, the next 5 guys would have probably gone undefeated too, or have a winning record, that's for sure. But I know, speaking just like Chris, I love you guys too. Just not seeing you. This has been a great reunion. Let's do it more often and make sure we'll commit Chris to that steak and Jack Daniels night this summer. Thank you.